Hello students, let's read the problem. And it says, the length of a rectangular table is 12 inches and its width is 9 inches. What is the length of a diagonal of the table in inches? Record your answer and fill in the bubbles in the grid below. Be sure to use the correct place value. Okay, so what is it that I'm looking for? Let's look at the last part of the first part of the question, right? It says, what is the length of the diagonal? So I'm looking for a diagonal of this table, right? So what about, and of course they're giving you measurements. It says that the length is 12 and the width is 9, okay? So make sure that you guys see those numbers, and the width is 9 inches. So we have measurements, right? Notice how in this question there's no picture for us. So what about if we do that first? Let's go ahead and draw a picture, and of course it has to be a rectangular table. Okay, so let's draw a rectangle, right? Because that's the shape that we're dealing with, and I am already gonna give you that diagonal that we're talking about. Now remember, diagonal means that you go from one vertex or one corner of the rectangle to the opposite. So that's the diagonal that I'm talking about, right? Okay, so let's write the labels. So we know that the length of the rectangle is 12 inches, so we will put it right here. This is my 12 inches. And it says that the width is 9. So I will write down the label for 9 inches. Okay, so I'm hoping that you can see that this is a right triangle. Again, right? So this right triangle, I can see the right angle right here. Now, why do I need to identify the right angle? Because remember, the right angle is the one that gives me the length, the A and the B. Is that right? So the legs of my triangle are actually 9 and 12. Is that right? So let's go ahead and highlight those. I want to make sure that we see those two. That's either A or B, and this will be A or B, right? So these are the two legs, okay? Now, very important that I know those two, because I know that one of them will be A and the other one will be B. And again, it's up to you which one do you want it to be, A and B. The one that I'm missing is the diagonal, which is right in my, I don't know, I don't think you can see the highlight, but it's black, right? That will be my C. Okay, so let me write down the label here. Okay, so first of all, again, very important that you identify the legs, and I can do that very easily just by finding the right angle. Okay, and those will be my A and B. So what I need to do now is, well, let's use the formula. And the formula that we're using is from the Pythagorean Theorem, that it states that A squared plus B squared will help me find C squared. Is that right? Okay, so let's replace the values here. So A is 12 inches, so I'm just gonna write down 12 to the second power. And B is 9 inches, so I will write down 9 to the second power. And that will be equals to C squared. Notice how A and B are given to you. So I don't know if you can see a pattern, but when both legs are given to you, basically I need to add them up. The problem comes when one of the legs is missing, but that's not the problem here. So 12 squared is 144. 9 squared is 81. And that will be equals to C squared. So now we need to add up 144 plus 81. And that gives me 225. And that will be equals to C squared. Now I cannot stop right there, because notice how here in my problem, I only have C. On my actual formula, I still have C to the second power. So there's one more step that I need to do. I need to find, and that's going to be one thing that you always need to do in this Pythagorean theorem. You need to find the square root. Okay? So I'm going to find the square root on both sides. By doing that, I cancel my power, okay? And I will get C equals, and now that's the answer that I'm looking for. and the square root of 225, it is going to be 15, and the measurements that I'm using, it's inches, so it will be 15 inches. So that's the measurement for C. Okay, so I'm going to write it up here. And again, notice how C is still the longest side, okay? Because we agreed that C is always going to be your longest side of the triangle, okay? So my answer is 15, so I'm going to come back to my grid, and 15 is a whole number, so it goes to the left of the decimal, okay? I'm going to bubble in the 1 and the 5. It's a positive answer. So if you don't want to bubble in the positive, you don't have to. My advice is I always try to either choose positive or negative. In that way, I would not forget that it has to be an answer there. Okay? Now, since 15 is a whole number, I can leave my answer like that. I do not need to follow zeros after the decimal. Okay? It's up to you. I am not going to put any zeros just to show you that either way, it will be correct. So that's my answer.